And good morning is 7:04 on this Monday, January 8th. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. Here we start the week on a Monday. Our work week always starts on a Monday, except when we have some holiday times that change things like the last 2 weeks. And this is the first time since 3 weeks ago that we're talking about Absolute Kubota. But Don Hamlet told us, I don't know whether he told everybody, he told me 3 weeks ago someone else would be here. And we have Clint Kelly here this morning. Clint heads up the service department of Absolute Kubota. Good morning.
Good morning, Coleman, and Happy New Year.
It is good to see you. Good to have somebody to talk about Absolute Kubota, 1506 West Main in Lebanon. They have, of course, Kubota tractors, hay equipment, zero-turn mowers, RTVs. They have what is known as Land Pride and Hustler and X-Mark and Red Max trimmers and blowers, everything from weed eaters to hay balers. That's what Don Hamlet usually tells us. Well, Clint, you're the service department manager, and I know that you know basically what's going on, but it's your responsibility to take care of that service department, right?
I do my best, absolutely.
Well, are you busy right now?
So we stay busy all the time. We're seeing less mowers right now, but we see lots of tractors and construction equipment this time of year.
Well, I have an idea that people who really want to, people who value their time, who want to get the most out of their time, take advantage of this time of year when they're not so busy to get service work done.
Absolutely. And then the thing that we're doing this month that we did last year, we had a big winter service promotion going on where you could come in and either get, if you're do-it-yourselfer and you like doing some of your own work, you can get 15% off at the parts counter on service parts. So maintenance kits, oil, filters, all that good stuff. Or you can come back and see me. And we had two options in the service department to save some money, in the new year. It's either up to $150 off round-trip transport for us to pick up your machine, bring it in, get it worked on, and then return it back to you, or 20% off one of our full service packages, so our premium or our elite service. And those are on every piece of equipment that we service. So, like you said, going from the smallest mower all the way up to the biggest tractor that we take care of, we can get something going for you.
Well, I guess you would, if somebody needed a little bit of help to figure which is the most advantage for them, you'll be glad to help put the pencil to it.
I'm decent at math, so yeah, I just tell people, hey, don't worry about it. I'll get you the bigger discount and put it on the account.
Yeah. Well, tell us about the service department. You head it up, and you're not totally it, are you?
No. So we had a great year last year. Stayed busy the whole year, and we have probably the best group of mechanics we've ever had. So it's a fantastic time to be a customer to Absolute Kubota because we're getting stuff in and out in an extremely fast manner and with top-notch quality. So it's been a really great last year. Looking forward to a whole new year now.
Well, I know that sometimes in the past, and maybe even now, there will be a piece that you need to get something repaired. It takes a little time to get it. Is the delay time improved considerably?
I think so. So I'm coming up on my second full year at Absolute Kubota, and it's definitely has improved since I've been there. Every once in a while, we'll still find some obscure part that we can get creative to try and find. But for the most part, I think even when it comes to repair work, when someone calls us and we don't know what's wrong with the tractor at first, we're still getting stuff in and out under 2 weeks. So that's diagnosing it, finding the fault, getting the parts there, getting it installed, and back to the customer. We're under 2 weeks.
How many people, and I know a lot of people try to be as thrifty as possible and like to do all they can themselves. You have a lot of what we'd call it do-it-yourselfers. I can't believe that they can totally tear down and repair one of those instruments. But
well, and the great thing is we can also be just a help for that. If you got issues, you can give me a call. I'll try and do my best for tech support over the phone. Unfortunately, sometimes the best answer is, hey, man, it sounds like you need to bring it in. It's a little more complex for you and for me over the phone. But we can open up the books and try and help out as best we can. Sometimes it works well over the phone, and other times the best course of action is to bring the tractor in and get us to diagnose it. And then at that point, you can decide to do it on your own when we give you the thorough diagnosis of what needs to be fixed.
Well, it sounds like you're doing your best to have the customer's best interest at heart. And if they are able to do something, you're going to help them. But everybody, even you, sometimes reach a point where you've reached the end of the rope and there's nothing you can do. Mm-hmm. But probably seldom for you.
It's not often. It's not often. Thankfully, where we've just gotten so much bigger, we've even added, Kubota carries a generator line, so we've even added that this year of taking care of those and taking care of service on them and repair. So we're always learning something new.
Well, as far as Kubota goes, how does it stand up with other brands of tractors and implements and so on? Were you rated right up there with the best?
I believe so. I mean, I've got some family experience with some other brands. My family's from out west where there's a lot of cotton farms. But I think Kubota does stand up well. They stand behind their product well. They've always been a great source from the repair side. If we have something, like you said, if we don't know it, they've got a fantastic tech support department, and they always get back to us immediately.
So you even have a resource there when
Absolutely.
You get your head up against the wall. So
that's correct. Yes, sir.
Clint, thanks so much for being with us this morning. It's good to talk about the service department. We talk about all the other with Don most of the time. Since he's in sales, we've talked service today. And will you be back next Monday?
I don't know, but I'm at the store every day if anybody wants to give me a call and ask some questions.
All right. And that number 615-449-6171. Absolute Kubota, 1506 West Main. And Clint Kelly, the Service Department Manager, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
That takes us to 10 and a half after the hour, and I've invited State Representative Clark Boyd to be my guest this morning, and he is here and ready to talk about the General Assembly that's about to reconvene. Clark, good morning.
Good morning, Coleman.
Well, I haven't seen you lately. I can't remember. You're supporting a very well-kept, handsome-looking beard.
My wife lets me grow it for No Shave November, and I keep it till session starts. And a lot of people tell me that I guess some people are beard people and some are. Maybe it hides the ugly face behind it. I don't know, but people tell me I should keep it. But the one person that matters the most, which is my sweet wife Jada, she doesn't like it, so it has to come off every January.
Well, I think it's nice that she says, "Well, okay, for a few weeks here." Well, I think it's very becoming to you. I'm going to tell you. You and Mr. Hutto with the Lebanon Special School District, Brian Hutto, have two of the nicest looking beards that I've seen in a while.
Well, thank you, Coleman. I appreciate that.
I hadn't talked to you for a while, and of course, you're in the insurance business. I guess the business is doing well. Hopefully it is.
Yeah, we're doing really well. There's, just a ton of people moving to this area. So it's, years ago when I first got in the business, it was like we were fishing with a fishing rod, and now it's like we're fishing with a net. That's the best way I could describe it.
Well, that's good. That is good, and I think you do have a nice team of support people who are there to take care of your customers, and that somewhat frees you up to be a state legislator.
That's right. I've got four folks, good teammates that work in my office that take care of me, and so if you call, you're gonna be talking to somebody live, and we'll take care of you. If it's not me, it's one of them.
Well, I wasn't, and I'm still not exactly sure of just the agenda and when you start. And when I actually texted you the other day and said we can start at Monday or we can wait till next Monday and get going, you preferred today. Is you going to be busy this week in the legislature?
Well, I'm going down there today. We don't technically start today, but I've got meetings that I need to take care of leading up to when we go into session tomorrow. But the second Tuesday in January is when we go in. And so tomorrow at noon, that's when we hit the button on the House floor and we gavel in and get started.
Well, this is a continuation. You're kind of picking up where you left off. I guess it was last April.
That's right.
Yeah. So what's it going to be like? You don't have to do the reorganization thing. I don't guess anybody's office is going to be moved. You kind of pick up where you left off. Would that be a good way to describe it?
That's right. Yeah. Even some of the bills that got parked in a committee, you can pick back up and continue on. One of the things I think that we've talked about in meetings leading up to this is working on the House rules a little bit. For the first 5 years that I was in the General Assembly, surprising to a lot of people, everyone got along really well. I mean, behind closed doors, the Democrats and the Republicans, we were all friends. I mean, oftentimes there just wasn't that much to fight over, and everyone had respect for decorum and the institution. But this last year has swept in some newer members that are community organizers, activists. I mean, when you've got folks that previously would have been the person, vandalizing a police car or chasing you around with a bullhorn in the streets during a riot, when those people get elected to office and they're down there, and for the most part, they're looking to disrupt, and they're rarely carrying any legislation. They're just there to disrupt, and they have a key to the building just like I do. You have to think about how you navigate that and continue to do the people's business. And so I wouldn't want to be the Speaker of the House right now trying to figure out how to do that. But I know that we've discussed some things and looked at last year and said, where are some pitfalls? What are some problems that we had? And so there's going to be some various changes to the time limits that people talk. There's going to be better coordination between the two parties. Like, I think there'll be a certain bill, and we'll ask the Democrats, who do you want to speak for or against this bill? We'll come up with ours, and we'll have some robust debate, but it'll be to a certain extent planned ahead of time. Mm-hmm. And so I think there's some changes like that are coming. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works. One of the things that I suggested, and they're actually going to take this up as a recommendation, any member on the House floor can do what's called a parliamentary inquiry. And probably people have heard of that before. And usually it's a question about, well, it's just that. It's an inquiry about a parliamentary procedure. But this last year, people would call for parliamentary inquiry, and then they would just continue talking on their bill, or they would pontificate, or they would make accusations. And it became apparent that people were abusing that privilege as a reason to just hurl insults at other members. And so what I suggested is, if someone raises their hand for a parliamentary inquiry, treat it kind of like approaching the bench in a courtroom. Recognize them and go, oh, sure, absolutely. You have a parliamentary inquiry. Come on down here and let's talk to the clerk and see what it is. And that's not really what they want. They don't really have a parliamentary inquiry. And so if they can't do it on camera, on a microphone, and they have to come down and do it privately with the clerk of the House and the Speaker of the House, they're not going to do it at all. And so I think it'll give them the opportunity if they legitimately have one, but I think that you'll see that go away.
Okay. All right, with that, we'll take our break right here. State Representative Clark Boyd is with us, and more coming up on Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to our friends at Bates Ford. Get a regular oil change, $39.95, up to 5 quarts oil, tax and disposal, $17.80 Franklin Road. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Accident out in Dixon County. It's going to be on Highway 46 near French's Boots. Again, that's going to be out in Dixon County. It's really heavy now as we look at it live on Vance going westbound, coming through Hendersonville, headed towards Conference Drive, starting to load up again with some heavy traffic on 24 westbound, coming in from Murfreesboro, Rutherford County, up through the Antioch area. Prince's Hot Chicken is hiring at all 4 locations. Order online today at princeshotchicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Gregory Dental Group in Lebanon is in a new location, 1746 West Main in Lebanon, across from Sports Village. Gregory Dental Group offers cosmetic procedures, dental implant services, and digital dentures. Premium dentures in just 2 appointments.
Hi, I'm Dr. Derek Gregory. In my office, you can count on a compassionate staff who will truly listen to you, take the time to get to know you, and discuss your personal needs.
No insurance? No problem. Call about the discount plan. Gregory Dental Group, 444-0322.
Saturday, January 13th, Mike Walker Auctions presents an absolute auction featuring an all-brick home in Lebanon. Located at 1260 South Maple Street, the home has 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, a kitchen, dining room, living room, and laundry room. The home sits on a quarter-acre lot centrally located in Lebanon and less than a mile from Interstate 40. For info and photos, visit MikeWalkerAuctions.com. Continue here on this Monday morning. Thanks for joining us, and always appreciate whoever my guest is when they show up it wouldn't be Coleman and Company if we didn't have guests. That's what it's all about. Clark Boyd, our state representatives here this morning. You got any particular bills you want to talk about that you're thinking of sponsoring, introducing this year?
Well, a lot of the conversations that I've been having the last few weeks and some that I'm having today are about legislation. And so I don't have everything spelled out today, but just to tell you a few things that I work on. And of course, my legislation is more geared toward the committee that I chair. So a lot of the times when I come in here and talk about legislation, it's energy or utility related or business related. And so, we've noticed across the country, it hasn't hit Tennessee quite as bad, but we've seen kind of that ESG movement where a lot of entities are requiring that their electricity be sourced from clean or renewable. And so we recognized last year that Tennessee had never actually defined what we think are clean and renewable, and recognizing that in Tennessee we are on the cusp of a nuclear renaissance. And so we wanted to make sure that was included as one of those energies. So we listed last year all of these various types of electricity or types of energy sources, and we put nuclear on there, and we also put natural gas on there. Mm-hmm. And so we did that, and what that's going to do, it's going to give a little bit of protection now for the TVA, who largely handles the state of Tennessee. When someone says, hey, we want our electricity, we demand that it be from clean or renewable, they can look at the list that we put into statute and go, okay, well, we're meeting that requirement because we're using nuclear, we're using hydro, we're using all the various sources, but to include natural gas. Now, I had several pieces of legislation the last couple of years that have dealt with cybersecurity and critical infrastructure protection. And Coleman, I can't emphasize this enough. And in any Western civilization or society, I mean, one of the largest threats that we face is the power going out. And one of the largest threats that we would have would be someone going in and hacking into our system and simply shutting it down. And so we want to make sure that doesn't happen. And so we have required that our utilities in this state have a cybersecurity plan. And now we are going to further criminalize someone who does attempt to hack in or do something like that. We've already addressed the physical attack where people maybe take a high-powered rifle, go to a substation, and try to shoot out, shoot a transformer or something there. So we've addressed that. But we've got to make sure the other issue that we have impending in this state, and we had a meeting with the governor a few weeks ago, several of us in the legislature, is we buy our electricity almost exclusively from TVA. And when I used to speak to groups, I always told them we are so lucky, and we are, because of our hydropower that we have that is very cheap. It's one of the cheapest ways to generate electricity, and just all the different ways that TVA generates electricity, really without a profit. And I said, we have some of the lowest priced electricity in the nation, and it was so abundant, but we've ran into several problems all of a sudden, and the blackouts that we had last year were not really from a shortage as much as the critical instrumentation was exposed to the elements, and it caused some problems in some of their plants. But we have so many people moving into Tennessee now, and it takes so long to get these generators up and running, to get them going, and at the same time that they are shutting down coal-fired power plants. And so TVA is admitting that we're basically, in the state of Tennessee now, we have a deficit on our electricity. I mean, we are a net importer of electricity, and it's going to get worse when you combine the fact that they're trying to get away from coal. There's a push to make everything electric now. Automobiles, they're encouraging people not to use natural gas but to use electricity. I mean, there is going to be a tremendous surge in the demand for electricity in Tennessee at the same time that we're taking coal-fired power plants off. nuclear is going to be our solution, but it's a decade away before these things are really in place. And so for the first time, TVA is actually putting some flexibility agreements in place with their electricity providers, like Middle Tennessee Electric or like Nashville Electric. And they're saying, hey, if y'all want to generate some of your own, that would be okay. And so I think that for the first time that I'm familiar with in the history of the state, I think TVA is kind of saying we may would like a little bit of help here if anybody else wants to generate some electricity. I don't want to speak on their behalf. So I think that there's a place here for Tennessee to lead on this issue and for us to come up with a energy policy in the state, which we've never had to do before.
You've really opened up, as we say, you've really opened up a can of worms here. I mean, that's and I haven't heard this. I think you've explained it very well. I hadn't heard it all put together like this, but a lot of this is because of the influx of people here.
Really, it's two things. The plan to take these coal-fired power plants offline has been in motion for years, and they're just following through with what they were planning to do. But I just don't think people realize that so many people, particularly after COVID-19, people were going to move to this area. And Coleman, it's the result of just being a great state, good governance. I mean, the people that come here, and I meet them. I don't even tell people I'm a state rep. Like lots of times when I meet people and they move here for insurance purposes, it never even comes up. They won't find out till the next election, you know. But I talk to them. I said, what brought you here? And they're like, you know what? I can work from home. And Tennessee, y'all don't have an income tax, even though it seems like our housing is going up just tremendously, the cost compared to where they came from, but also they just like our conservative policies that we have in this state. We're on different entities that rank in how free you are just across the board as far as how little government intervenes. I mean, on that index, Tennessee ranks very, very high, and we've got great public education in this state, you know, and probably some of the biggest problems that we're having right now is just our growth. I mean, our traffic problems in Nashville are because so many people are moving into this area, and we can't get the roads built fast enough. And so that's one of our largest concerns, and that's really what's driving this energy deficit right now.
Well, let's switch gears just a little bit. We've got about 3.5 minutes left here. What education issues do you expect to be brought up, to have to be addressed? And I don't think you're on that committee necessarily, but at least we're all concerned in the school voucher thing. I've heard it's going to be a one we're going to hear a lot about.
Yeah, that's going to come up this year. It's already been announced. I haven't seen the bill yet. One thing I do want to tell you, I did meet with our superintendent, and he has stressed to me, you know, he said, Clark, we'll do whatever testing we're supposed to do, but he said, we are just tested to death. And so we've always told them, well, it's because the federal government makes us. And he pointed something out to me. He said, yes, they do, but there were some additional tests that y'all are requiring of us, and so I told him I would check into that. This is Jeff Luttrell, and so I'm going to check into that and make sure that we're meeting our federal requirements, but we're not just working them to death with the testing. But as far as the school voucher thing, I have not seen the bill yet, and so I get a lot of emails from people supporting it and people that are against it, and they talk about it as if they've seen a bill. If they've seen a copy of it, they need to send it to me, because all I can talk is philosophically at this point. Yeah. Philosophically, I am and always have been for giving more choice to parents and students as far as where they go to school. We have an obligation in this state to provide a free public education, and I think that we have done a good job of that. We have increased funding just unprecedented the last few years since Republicans have taken control of the General Assembly. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. I mean, we have just gone up hundreds of millions of dollars a year to address that, and so I think we've got a ways to go. I want Tennessee to lead in public education, be the best in the country, and we need more funding to do that. But at the end of the day, I represent the students and the parents of those students, and so when they say to me, Clark, we want a good public option, but we also not every child is the same. A one-size-fits-all model doesn't work for every kid. Sometimes you have a kid that learns a little bit differently, and they have different needs, and we want to make sure that parents that couldn't otherwise afford, maybe they can make another choice and send their kids somewhere else. And so I have seen this play out. I know, parents that teach school at a private school, but send one of their kids to a public school because that's the need. That's what they thought was best for them. And I've seen public school teachers that sent their kid to a private school because they felt like that was a better fit for them. I just want to match the kids up where they're going to learn best, and I think all options should be on the table. Now, could there be a poison pill in this bill? Could it be so bad that I'm against it? It's possible. I haven't seen it yet. Yeah. If it became detrimental to public education, or then I might not be for it. I don't think that everyone should get a voucher. My kids go to Friendship Christian. I don't think I should get a voucher. They've already been there. How expensive would that be if across the state, I don't know how many there are, but say there are 100,000 kids that are in private schools now. If we gave every one of their parents $7,000, that would be really expensive. So I'm not sure that if you're already in private schools that you should get it. But I think that what we have done in Nashville and in Memphis, where we have said if you are below a certain income level, you're in a school maybe that's failing, then we'll give you some dollars and you can do something different. I think an expansion of that and maybe raising it up some, the eligibility. So I just don't know much about it, Coleman, but I know that philosophically, I think if you're really for making sure that the kids are educated and have all options, then more access and more availability is always the best solution.
Okay, well, we've come to the end of our time here. Thanks so much for being with us. See you in 2 weeks.
Coleman, have a good one.
State Representative Clark Boyd, and that is part one of Coleman and Company. We've got more. We hope you'll keep it right here, FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to our friends at Absolute Kubota. Premium brands require premium parts and service. Contact Absolute Kubota's Elite Certified Service Department to schedule an appointment. 1506 West Main, 449-6171. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Really heavy now in Hendersonville as we look at it live here on Vietnam. That's going westbound, headed towards Conference Drive. It's still carrying a heavy volume of traffic on 24 westbound up out of Rutherford County, Murfreesboro towards Nashville. A little bit crowded now over here in Hermitage, heading towards Donaldson on I-40 West. Behind it, you got all that heavy traffic coming in from Wilson County. Princess Hot Chicken is hiring at all 4 locations. You can order online today at princesshotchicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Mount Juliet Plumbing is the company to call it. Mount Juliet Plumbing, we can fix it all. So if you're having a plumbing problem and you're needing it solved, come on Juliet Plumbing today. We will fix it right. That's the Mount Juliet Plumbing way. Give us a call today over here at Mount Juliet Plumbing and Leak Detection. We do water leak repairs, water heaters, slab foundation leak detection, and so much more at 615-733-5665.
Welcome into your Monday. We're expecting partly sunny skies, a high nearing 55. Overnight, 100% chance of showers, a low of around 40. Southeast winds begin to pick up and could gust up to 30 miles per hour at times. This weather forecast is brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty, professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. Let's look at your forecast. I'm Stormy Clausen.
Welcome to part 2 of Coleman and Company here on this Monday morning. We welcome Gail Helen to talk about the Farm Bureau Expo Center. She's the Director of Marketing and Events. Good morning.
Good morning.
Haven't seen you in 3 weeks. Nice to see you again.
Thank you. Good to see you. It's been kind of crazy busy with this thing called the holidays.
Yeah. Did you get a little break, a little rest maybe?
We did. We got a little break, and then I got bored and went to work. It's pretty bad when that happens, but
no 2 months, and I'm not sure any 2 days. But I guess there are a few days that are similar, but no 2 months are just alike at the Farm Bureau Expo Center. You've got different groups coming in. Your job is to fill that place as much as possible and to make a little money if you can, and I think you've been doing both.
I have. So to wrap up our 2023, I'm really excited to tell you that we have had I did our total count because I have counters that count everybody that comes in the building. 391,455 in 2023. That was super exciting to me. Now, I don't have anything to compare that to specifically because that's the first year we've had the counters up for the entire year. So I'll know more at the end of this year. But, and it looks like we're going to round out the year with about 176,000, maybe 177,000 in profit. So, yeah. We're really excited. We're very proud. It just keeps going upward. And
can you do even better in 2024?
Yeah, I'm hoping so. I mean, if you look at the calendar, it would tell you that for sure. And the focus is always trying to get events like trade shows and things like Mistletoe Market and that type of stuff. That really is kind of where the money is in those kinds of events. But my goal is always to have a well-rounded set of events throughout the year so everybody has an opportunity to come to the expo and enjoy whatever happens to be there. Mm-hmm. And if you're looking for an RV, this weekend is the time to do that. That's the next one.
What now?
An RV.
Oh.
Entire expo will be full of RVs.
Okay. That's like recreational vehicles.
That's correct. Any size, shape, color, amenities you might need, they'll have one.
That's maybe a going thing. There's an increase in that area, I believe.
There is definitely an increase in that area. And what's really interesting to me is some of these, I got very excited because, I have my Mustang. And they have toy haulers, like built into the back of it. Like not a trailer, but built in, like you drive it in. Uh-huh. And I went, oh, would my car fit in here? I was informed that was not the case, but it meant more for an ATV. But I got excited there for a minute. Yeah. But they have got a lot of amenities. I mean, you can really have your home away from home. And for somebody like me, who's not really a camper, I like my white fluffy pillows and the white fluffy bathrobe when I go someplace else. It's a home away from home.
And you can see all of those. When's that coming now?
This weekend. Okay. So, this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
All right. Well, next Monday you can tell us a little bit about how successful it was, maybe.
I can.
What else is happening in January?
Oh, gosh. We've got one of our favorite gymnastics meets, Meet Authority, will be here the following weekend. And then StarQuest, the dance shows, start all over again in January. So StarQuest is one of our biggest. And it will be here. And then right behind that is going to be the boat and fishing show.
Oh.
So we'll get we'll have some dance, kids-related things in the middle, but RVs and boat and fishing will be on both sides of that.
Boat and fishing in January?
Basically, yes. Well, technically, no, actually. It's going to be the first weekend in February.
Okay.
It starts loading in January.
Right. But all of this to look forward to.
That's right.
And then you probably, people call and want some time that it's available. It's getting harder and harder to find something to accommodate them.
It is. I continue to say, what year? And right now I'm looking in the main exhibit hall that I only have Easter, Memorial Weekend, and I may not even have that after this week. Thanksgiving and Christmas open.
So it's looking like a good year.
It's looking like a good year.
Yeah.
And I mean, I just booked my second one in 2027 the other day. So
that's getting on out there.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah. I like them when they're full, when you roll into the year and it's already pretty much full. Now, that's not to say there are openings like in South Hall for the middle of the week and the main exhibit hall for the middle of the week. Yeah. But that stuff kind of filters in about 6 months out as opposed to 3 to 5 years out.
Well, we've got about a minute left here. I guess we ought to mention your staff just a little bit because
we do. Yes.
I think y'all work together as a team quite well.
We do, and I'm very proud of our staff. And just what they accomplish is amazing, and it's very rewarding when every event that leaves says that how happy they were about how they were treated and how they were supported in their event. We have some that maybe don't feel quite that way, but maybe their expectations weren't set on the right benchmark, or maybe we dropped the ball somewhere. But I would say 99% of the time, our staff is praised for what they do. And the 5-star reviews on Google help a lot in telling that story.
All right. Well, you'll be back next Monday. We'll pick up where we left off here. How's that?
I'll be back.
Well, thank you so much.
Have a wonderful day.
All right. Gail Hallam, Director of Marketing and Events for the Farm Bureau Expo Center out at the James E. Ward Ag Center. We're about 22 before the hour, and this is the Monday we feature the Singing Plumber. And I want to welcome Ed Kelly, the Singing Plumber. Good morning.
Good morning, Coleman, and Happy New Year.
How are you?
I'm doing wonderful.
Good. Well, glad to see you, and know you're here to talk about Mount Juliet plumbing and leak detection, as well as maybe talk a little bit about being a singing plumber, right?
You know, I surprised you last month with when you asked me how I was doing. You remember that?
Yeah.
And actually, I was able to complete my Blame Donald Trump song, and so I think we're going to play it today.
Well, you got a time you want to do that?
I think we're going to do it right after the commercial break.
Okay.
And I've got my good friend right here that doesn't need an introduction.
Good morning, Coleman. What a great day to be alive.
Senator Mark Bodie, he's right here today. And how are you, Senator?
Senator, I'm doing great. Coleman, I got to tell you, Gail was just in here. The Expo Center here in Wilson County is an anomaly. Almost all of them across the state, the country, they all lose money. And she gives a report that she actually was able to have a profit. This is absolutely a great thing for Wilson County, and something to say about our Expo Center, what they're doing. So, I mean, that's just amazing that how Wilson County is leading the nation that way. So, kudos to what's going on in the Expo Center. But we're ready to go back in session. I know you had Clark here a little while ago, and he was already talking about what's going to happen in the House. And I got to tell you, Coleman, I am so glad I'm in the Senate, not in the House this year.
Well, that was the reason why.
Well, so in the Senate, there's going to be a decorum that is how it's supposed to be. And it's almost like a courtroom setting or whatever. There's going to be the respect and such of the chambers that we're going to be in. And we don't have senators that are trying to make a name for themselves. We're just trying to get the work done. And we might have disagreements, but we can do it in a really good civil way. Everybody gets to talk. Nobody's cut off. Everybody gets to have their point made. But in the House, it just seems there's a lot more commotion. And I think it's one of these times that we're just going to buy popcorn and watch what goes on in the House, because I think there's going to be a lot of commotion going on in the House. There's different new people in the House.
Well, no doubt about that. I certainly agree with what you're saying here. One thing that might lend to that, although hasn't been all that noticeable in the past, there are 3 times as many in the House as there are in the Senate. We have 99 House members. We have 33 senators, right?
That's correct, yes.
So that could be a little bit, but I think where the problem's coming from is some people who are wanting to be recognized and have their own agenda and are not really part of the team.
Yes, and part of it is, are we here to try and get some work done, or are we here to try and make a name or just make noise? And I think in the Senate, we're here to literally take serious issues, whether I agree with them or not. Everything's going to be debated, everything's going to be talked through, and everybody gets a fair and equal shot to present their ideas. And some of the ideas I have, they don't go through and they're shot down, and it's across the board. Every idea is looked at, discussed, debated, and then moved on.
You want to comment on that, Ed?
Well, I think I can say it. I'm looking forward to this circus that's going to take place, and I know that our representatives on the conservative side are going to take care of business as the professionals that they are, and we can only hope that quacks like Gloria Johnson and Justin Jones and Justin Pearson can get their acts together, because there's a way to go about doing things in there. I'm not an elected official, but there's rules that we have to play by, and if the Republicans in the House were breaking the rules, believe me, we'd hear about it from all of them, and we'd hear about it from the local news, from even like Phil Williams. He likes to go after Republicans a lot, but since it's Democrats doing it, it's okay. It made national news. It just needs to let them work. Let y'all just come in and get some things done, and do what's right for the state and for Tennesseans.
Okay, we got a couple of minutes here before we go to a break. I suggest we talk a little bit about plumbing. You are the singing plumber. You sing, but you also do plumbing work. You are looking for jobs right now?
Absolutely. What we want to focus more on this year is replacing. There's a lot of water lines in the area that are older with galvanized piping and, even older copper. And, we run into a lot of these leaks, and a lot of times the leaks are very difficult to find, and we can find them, but a lot of times it's better to just replace the whole water line because we can, with our equipment, our excavators, and our operator, we can a lot of times replace a line, in about a day, where it might take us a half a day just to find a leak, depending on how deep it is, whether it's PVC or PEX. A lot of those materials are harder. They don't make as much noise with the, so it's harder to find those leaks. There's a way to do it, but if you're needing any type of, if you had a high water bill, give us a call. We do that. We can come out and do a leak detection for you. And if it turns out to be in your main system from the meter to your house, we may be able to repair it depending on where that leak is, or we can just replace the whole line.
When you replace, what do you replace with?
Mostly we use PEX these days. And, sometimes depending on the situation, some people request copper, but copper's gone way up. So, if you want copper, you're going to pay for it.
Yeah.
PVC, I don't recommend it because I've seen we have high water pressure around here, and the pressure's not regulated from the water meter. It's usually there's a water pressure regulator at the house, so that whole pipe from the meter to the house is under full pressure, and I've seen pressure as high as 150 to 160 psi's, and so over time I've seen it where it will actually chew a hole in the pipe or actually cut out a fitting, like a coupling, where they make it in the middle where there's a stop in the middle there where the two pipes join together. A lot of times there's like a line in the middle there, and I've seen it, the whole fitting just split over a time period of maybe 20, 30
So if you could
years.
put in what you'd prefer, what would that be?
We use PEX.
What is that?
It's a plastic pipe tubing that is pretty commonly used now. It's kind of replaced copper and all the other materials for water lines.
All right, we're going to go to a break. When we come back, we're going to hear your song, right?
Yes.
And what's the name of the song?
It's called Blame Donald Trump.
Blame Donald Trump. All right, that's next. This is Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to our friends at Bates Ford and the Works Vehicle Checkup. They'll make sure your vehicle is ready for any road. $59.95 up to 5 quarts oil. Tax and disposal, tire rotation, and safety check. 1780 Franklin Road. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. It continues to run slow on Vietnam. That's going westbound there in Hendersonville as they clean up an accident that's really got traffic extra slow coming in from Gallatin, making your way through Hendersonville right now. Again, that wreck westbound on Vietnam. That's just before you get up to Conference Drive. Traffic still in pretty good shape right now. It's just heavy through the Mount Juliet area on I-40 westbound as you come in from Wilson County all the way into Hermitage. A 24/7 reliable crane and rigging services here in Middle Tennessee. It's Tomahawk Crane and Rigging. Check them out today at tomahawkcrane.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We're the Mount Juliet Plumbers, and we're just a phone call away. We know that if you're having a plumbing problem, you're not having a very good day. So give us a call right now, and a plumber will be on his way. At 615-733-5665. Call 615-733-5665. Call your local plumbers over here at Mount Juliet Plumbing and Leak Detection. We install water heaters, water lines, new toilets, and do general repairs at 615-733-5665.
Exmark builds mowers that deliver a perfect cut in less time. Because we believe what you get out of your lawn, not your mower, is what matters most.
Find signature cut quality, comfort, and reliability. Exmark's Laser Z is the zero-turn more landscape pros trust. Find attractive financing and the Exmark that's right for you at Absolute Kubota, 1506 West Main in Lebanon.
Exmark, official mowers of the backyard life.
All right, we continue here on this Monday morning. Our program presented by Mount Juliet Plumbing and Leak Detection. Ed Kelly, he's here, and his guest is Senator Mark Pody. But are we ready to hear the song now?
I think we are.
MJ, you going to turn it loose? Okay, let's call Blame Donald Trump.
Woke up this morning in a good mood. I made a cup of coffee and I turned on the news. This lady started going on about 45. I could tell that she was lying by that look in her eye. So I turned off the TV and headed to my truck. And that's when I hit the spell of bad luck. I spilled coffee on my shirt, ran out of gas, was late to work. Trains got clocked Thanksgiving Day, got charged a late fee for a bill I didn't pay. I got blisters on my feet, Biden's inflation's caused my savings to deplete. When my life is in a rut, I blame Donald Trump. Got home this evening in a bad mood. I got a cold drink and I turned on the news. This fella saying great things about 46, knowing that Joe Biden hasn't done. So I turned off the TV and headed to my bed. Fell asleep and dreamed it all over again. I spilled coffee on my shirt, ran out of gas, was late to work. Trains got clocked Thanksgiving Day, got charged a late fee for a bill I didn't pay. I got blisters on my feet, Biden's inflation's caused my savings to deplete. When my life is in a rut, I blame Donald Trump. Blame Trump, blame Trump. It feels so good to blame Donald Trump. Blame Trump, blame Trump. Every day your life is in a rut. Blame Donald Trump. I spilled coffee on my shirt, ran out of gas, was late to work. Trains got clocked Thanksgiving Day, got charged a late fee for a bill I didn't pay. I got blisters on my feet, Biden's inflation's caused my savings to deplete. When my life is in a rut, I blame Donald Trump. How about I just blame Santa Claus, or the Queen of England, or the girl next door, maybe her cat? No, you know what? Let me think about it. I think I'll just blame Donald Trump.
All right, there you have it. Ed Kelly's rendition, Blame Donald Trump. You wrote that. You recorded that.
Yeah, you know, the funny thing about that song is it was kind of intended to be a joke.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm a pretty serious fella, so most of my music gets real deep. It's about life in general and different things, and but I was inspired by all the keyboard warriors on social media. I got back on X about 3 or 4 months ago, and all they do is every other post you see on there is something bashing Donald Trump, and he hadn't been the president for over 3 years, and they're still blaming the man for everything. And so, honestly, I mean, I like what Trump did for our country, but there's a lot of things I may not agree with, like things that he might say. But because of the way that they attack the man, I feel obliged to defend him. Mm-hmm. Last year, we bought a Class A motorhome for me to tour in.
All right.
And I wasn't very familiar with these motorhomes, but I found one online that I was interested in, and I just felt like it was something I needed to do. I needed to go look at it. So I went and looked at this motorhome. I talked to this couple. They were about 79 or 80 years old. They seemed to be really nice. And then, and they also seemed to really love their motorhome.
Uh-huh.
So at the end, I was there for about an hour. They were telling me all the great things about it, and I was like, "Oh, wonderful! Where can I buy it? Let me buy it from you?" And then but I said, "Well, you love this motorhome so much. Why are you selling it?" And you know what they did? They started blaming Donald Trump for gas prices and everything else. And I just.
And this was about a year ago?
This was actually, I'm trying to remember. This was probably July of 22.
Okay.
Yeah. So we ended up getting into a political argument because just the lies that have been told about that man are unreal. I mean, I'm sure that he's made some mistakes, but it's just unreal that there's not a Democrat in the politics today that ever makes any mistakes. But if it's a Republican or if it's Donald Trump or even if it was a Ron DeSantis or some other president, everything's going to be their fault. And so this woman was so ingrained in this Trump-hating dialogue that she's heard on the news.
I've got a relative or two I can identify.
That it cost her the sale of that motorhome.
You right?
Because we got into it, and then she wanted me to give her like $25,000 cash. And knowing that she was a Democrat, it wasn't like, no, it was like, I don't know if I can say the H word on air, so I'm not going to, but like, H no. And so I left, and that was it. And then I went up the road. My kids were hungry, so I went into a gas station and got them a hot dog, or I had my wife do it. And I got on the internet again and found another motorhome. It was like 7 or 8 years newer, a lot nicer, and it was $12,000. He wanted $12,000 less than what this couple wanted for theirs. Also, it had about 38,000 miles on the engine instead of 62 or 63. It was 7 p.m. I called the man. I said, "Hey, I'm interested in buying your motorhome," and he answered the phone actually at 7 or 8 o'clock at night. And I said, "Hey, will you take $3,000 less?" He said, "Yeah, sure." So a week or two went by. He had it over at like Camping World having some stuff done to it, and a week or two went by, and finally, I went and got the motorhome, and he drove it back for me because I wasn't comfortable driving it right then because it's a big piece of equipment. Mm-hmm. And so I tell people that Donald Trump and the hatred of the Democrats for Donald Trump saved me $12,000, and I negotiated the $3,000. Turns out the guy was an outstanding individual from Arizona. He was a veteran, and he was a Republican. So I'm so glad that I got to give my money to a Republican and not some boneheaded Democrat that can't see between the lines. I mean, and honestly, if they didn't do what they did to do to Trump, I wouldn't defend the guy. There's things he does that are indefensible, things that he has said, but also if you're constantly under attack, you got to look at that too. And they've constantly attacked the man. And so when I wrote this song, it was just just something that started off with like actually a post on Twitter from Channel 2 News.
Yeah.
And I said, "Hey, you know what?" And I spent probably 30 minutes writing what is now the chorus. And then obviously it's changed. But it's like, you know what, I ought to try to make this a song. And it just came together like it was supposed to. And that's how songwriting goes. Things just come together. And then I got into the studio with Sean Pody, who does a great job helping me produce the music. And there was a few things that got added, like at the end where it talks about blaming Santa Claus and stuff. We had some time in there, said, hey, why don't we do this? And then there was a couple of wordage that got changed. And so I'm very happy with the song. And you know what? I hope it sheds some light on what they've done to a president. And I don't think any president should be treated the way that he has.
You had some favorable response from it being available for people to hear?
I've had a lot of good positive feedback. Of course, social media consider some of my posts dangerous, even though it's okay for a Democrat to get on there and fabricate lies every day, but I'm not allowed to call it out. So I actually looked on my Twitter today because I got a new phone, and I looked up Ed Kelly music, and it wasn't coming up. And then there was this little thing at the bottom that said, check your settings. And so because on my settings it was automatically set on blocking sensitive information, Ed Kelly music wasn't coming up.
Oh.
Because I've commented on some of the nonsense that they like to post on there, the news, and then like Gloria Johnson and all of them. I mean, it's a complete circus, but they kind of motivated me to write that song. And so I have to at least thank the modern American Democrats for helping me write a great country music song. And a lot of people are going to really get behind this song, I believe, and I'm hoping, I'm offering this right now to former President Trump, for him to be able to use this freely in any of his campaigns, commercials. You know, any Republican that wants to use it, that's running for office anywhere in the country, they're free to use it. Just give me a holler.
Somebody trying to reach you right
now. And, you know.
We're out of time, Ed. We get your point. Thank you so much. I appreciate having you here and listening to that, and we'll see where it goes.
Thank you, Coleman.
In the meantime, remember, it's Mount Juliet Plumbing and Leak Detection. Ed Kelly at 615-733-5665 at mountjulietplumbing.com and edkellymusic.com.
Thank you, Coleman.
Thank you. And Senator Pody, thank you for being with us as well. That's it for a Monday. Hope you'll join us tomorrow. Till then, I wish you a magnificent day.